So welcome back. In the last one, I forgot to cover this lunatic, Nick Fuentes. Let's see what he has to say.
We've got to talk about the fundamentals of our worldview and what it would look like to build a society based on our distinct worldview, which is different from the left, different from a godless, atheist, constructivist, liberal worldview. And what does that look like? Does that look like a society where you have gay marriage and birth control and...
I think it's funny that being constructive is considered bad. Like, what? This was something about those stupid tablets that I don't give a shit about that were destroyed. That they made it sound like egalitarianism, humanitarianism, peace, love, and unity were works of the devil. It's like, well, if those things are the works of the devil, he sounds like a pretty cool guy. Because on the other hand, you have a narcissistic, arrogant, egotistical, murderous, and fanticide-having asshole that is hateful, spiteful, vengeful, like, I don't know.
Contraceptives and legal, ubiquitous internet pornography and all the rest, but transgender kids aren't playing in girls' water polo? No. That's not what it looks like. It looks like a society where women don't have the right to vote. And it looks like a society where boys and girls get married as teenagers and start having kids. And they don't use birth control, and they don't use contraceptives, and they have big families and a high birth rate. And it looks like women wearing veils at church. And it looks like women not being in the workforce.
Again, this goes back to this whole, like, tribalism, collectivism thing of, like, well, I mean, we can't burn women. This guy's just a lunatic on that front, but, I mean, if Nick Fuentes doesn't want to use birth control, nobody's making him. He doesn't have to attend gay weddings. He doesn't have to befriend gay people. I don't know why he thinks this is a good idea. I don't know, like, if he want, I'm sure he could find some ultra conservative woman out there to be with if he's in fact straight. A lot of people question if he's straight. A lot of people think he's a homosexual. If he wanted to be with a woman that had his, I'm sure he could find one. And, she could get her ass in the kitchen or whatever. But, it just sounds like he's angry because he can't enslave people. That's like a serial killer that's pissed because, he can't murder people. Like, no, it's not appropriate, sorry.
And it looks like mothers raising their kids. And it looks like pornography being banned.
I love this misconception of the past, too. Mothers raising kids. Okay, do you know what the mortality rate of birth giving was back in the... Because he's going to bring it to a time frame. It was just unbelievable. A lot of kids were orphaned and taken care of people by people they didn't even know. This is just such a lack of reality.
And homosexuality and transsexuality, as well as heterosexual sodomy, as well as fornication and adultery, being shamed by the society, and maybe in some places, in some jurisdictions, regulated by the law. It's not enough to say we're against trannies, you gotta be against women's rights too. It's not enough to be against blue-haired feminism, you gotta be against women getting educated. Okay?
Against women being
or else,
educated.
what are we really trying to achieve here? 1999? 1999 sucked too. We want to go back to 1099. We want to go back to the Middle Ages.
All right, so the Middle Ages, fun. So my comment to that was something to the effect of he can go back to the Middle Ages if he wants, and if he thinks he would be safe back then, he wouldn't. There were multiple waves of bubonic plague. Torture and murder were done on a daily basis. A large percentage of the world's population dropped during that time frame because it was so uninhabitable. He probably would end up with like some kind of infection in his ass just from lack of hygiene and not being able to wipe his ass or take showers for days on end, or his life expectancy would drop significantly. Just because he's Christian doesn't mean that he wouldn't have been tortured by the Spanish Inquisition. Why does he want to go back to that time frame? Like, to me, that is just stupidity. It's lack of understanding of what he's even talking about. If he actually went back to the Middle Ages, and then was brought back to our time, he would never say this again. He would never say it again. I promise you, he would just go quiet. It's not a joke. Like, it was fucked up. They were called the Dark Ages for a reason.
So, we're burning your gay pride flag. We're burning your gay pride float.
Like,
and then we're going to drag your bitch wife out of her house, kicking and screaming, and then we're going to burn her at the stake, too, for being a witch.
A witch. You guys actually believe magical people exist. Okay. Cool. And that's what I mean. This is mental illness. Another response that I had to this, I put on Twitter and Facebook, was that if I didn't know who Nick Fuentes was and I saw this, I probably would have thought that it was a joke, that it was just satire, because it's so over-the-top ridiculous. I would just think that nobody in their right mind would actually have these views. But no, it's Nick Fuentes. Of course he does. What a weirdo. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it here and then just talk is that... So ChickMcn and C.R. Williams wanted to do a kind of a live stream, like somehow work something out where we can be in like a group phone call and put it on my channel. And I am in favor of that because all three of us have different political positions, even though I hate politics, but we do have different political positions. And that's something I think that doesn't happen very often these days, is where you have people of different political persuasions having a civil conversation with each other. And I think that's something especially the younger generations need to see, is that's something that can take place, that's something that can happen. And understand that, really, despite all our rage, we're all just, rats in a cage. And that's what it is. So I'm all for this, have a right-leaning libertarian, and ethno-nationalist Christian guy, and, libertarian socialist sort of feral democracy anarchist type guy, and we could discuss things openly. I'm in favor of it. It's something that's not seen very often these days, and that's exactly why I'm in favor of it, just because it's not seen very often these days. So, hopefully, ChickMcn has talked about doing something similar in the past. He hasn't pulled through. Hopefully, this time he will be able to, and we can actually get that coordinated and make it happen. That's all for this video. A nice, sweet, short video, only about 10 minutes long, so enjoy that. And I'm done with this one. I'm out.